pledge allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for your patience. We had a little glitch in our technical system here. All right, so we don't have any additions, board. First up, Garrett Ransom. Come on up to the chair there, Garrett. Mr. Ransom, what can you tell us about your property?
Well, I had some bad tenants. I couldn't get rid of them. I took them to court. One of them I took 4 times, and he didn't come, and the judge did nothing. And between the 2 of them the code guy just got out, which was a blessing for me. They owed me almost $100,000 in back rent. I couldn't get rid of them. And then they trashed the apartments, and I went up there and I told him a lot of times to clean it, and then he had dogs, and he wasn't supposed to have dogs, and he left them, and I guess I haven't been up there. You know, I got my cousin's stepkid. He's been over there for, I don't know, about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe the code Dennis could tell you more, and he told me that they took out, the trailer's 5 by 17, and they took out 5 or 6 trailer loads to the dump, and he bought 5 of the boxes of big black bags, and they're out of there now. He got them out and they're out, you know. But they've broken back in, I believe, and they're just a horror show to me, you know. And I got a guy, I can't do it no more. I'm 71 years old. I'll be 72 in July. And I have a guy that buys houses that have problems, and he was going to look me up today. I don't know what happened. I'll have to call him. I just got here. I came from Massachusetts.
So, Mr. Ransom, your property right now is condemned,
Yeah.
and you're not allowed to have anybody in that home. The board is to decide what the next steps will be. So are you saying that you're going to sell the property?
Eventually, but I want to clean it out. I don't want to give it away, and I've had, with permission, I've had my cousin's stepson who does that. He tears up trailers and cleans up places, and from what I understand, he's got it looking pretty good, you know. There was 3 apartments, and they kept breaking in and destroying them. I couldn't do nothing.
Right, we realize that. So it's more than just cleaning out. I've been to the property, I've seen the pictures. It's horrendous. It's horrendous for the neighborhood, and we just can't allow it in the village. So the board will decide what the next steps will be. If you are going to sell it, I would like you to do it quickly because the property needs to be rehabbed.
Yeah, he knows that.
Who's he?
His name is, I got his name. His name is Bill. He buys and fixes places. I don't really know him.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about. So we need a decision about you because the fear is, and you've said it a couple of times, the police are watching that, the neighbors are watching that. That home has been a detriment to the village, and it's not.
I used to call him almost every night.
I know, but we cannot allow it again.
No, I didn't want to allow it to begin with.
I
I
understand.
was pulling my hair out of my head trying to get rid of them, and he never showed up, and Judge Decker never threw him out.
Well, there's a process through the court.
Well, I went through the process. I brought all the paperwork
I
in
talked to
that
the judge.
I've done. I mean, I've done it before with the other judges. Now they made it more difficult for a landlord.
It's very difficult for the landlord, I understand.
And the last time I did it, the county clerk, they served the warrant 2 days too early, and the judge threw it out. And the clerk said he should have just had me do that over again. And
Well, I just want you to understand, Dennis is here. You can talk to Dennis outside of this meeting, but tonight was for you to come to talk to us about what your plans were, because we're not just going to open that house up.
no, I understand that. I mean, those 3 apartments need to be looked at without all the garbage on the floor and see what, where I stand with it. And I'm talking with a gentleman to buy it because I'm 71, I'll be 72 in July. I can't do this anymore. It's just too much. I mean,
I understand.
it's too much. I can't even sleep anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
And he used to, the one, Robert, he used to live up on top of me, and I'd be calling the police 2 or 3 times at 2 o'clock in the morning, all the time. And they'd come in and they wouldn't empty the apartment out, and I tried the best I could to keep that place nice, you know?
We appreciate that, but just so
I'm not a slumlord. I couldn't get in there and get anything out. He wouldn't let me in. And then the other guy, I don't know, they moved in and they told me that they had problems with the law and they were straight and they did their time and everything else and they were clean. And they worked pretty good for a year or two. And the 2 tenants, they both ended up, I think they hooked up together and I think they were doing crystal meth. I couldn't tell. And anytime that they'd wake me up, I'd call the police and they'd come and they'd be quiet while they were there. And I had no sleep for 4 years, not a good night's sleep.
So where are you staying while you're in town?
I have no place right now unless I go to a hotel or something. I was hoping I could stay in my apartment. My apartment's clean.
You can talk to Dennis outside of this meeting, but we are not going to open up that house.
I don't want to open it.
I know what you're
My
saying.
apartment's separate from them. And,
I
you
understand.
know, I'm paying taxes and heat and all that, and I was putting the smoke detectors up and I fell and the bit of the screwdriver, the drill bit went through my head. And I ended up, I didn't even know how I got there. I went up to Massachusetts and I went to the hospital a couple of times and there's nothing they can do for you. And I'm not right now. I'm not the same person. I mean, I'm stuttering and I'm shaking. I mean, they destroyed my health.
Yeah.
And I tried not to put up with it, but I was talking on deaf ears, you know?
I'm very
And I
sorry
wasn't
to
getting
hear
help
that.
from anybody. Nobody. The judge should have threw them out a long time ago. you
Well,
know?
as I said, I'm not the court. That's up to the judge.
Even somebody that's involved with the court, that takes care of the paperwork, told me that, I don't understand why he's not gone.
Well, we
know?
did what we could by law, New York State Code law,
Yeah.
and
I
shut the house
appreciate that,
down.
you know, as horrible as it is, I appreciate it. But my apartments, I don't have garbage lying around in my apartment. I have some extra furniture and stuff, because I used to rent them furnished, you know? And if somebody came and it was cold out and they had no place and I had a place, I'd let them pay me bi-weekly. I did very well for a long time until I got these idiots in there. They don't care about nothing and nobody.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's,
And then they let him keep the dogs. The dogs shouldn't have been there. He wasn't supposed to have dogs, and now there was dog poop everywhere. Because he left them in there with nobody in there.
I saw it.
And then he came back, and he I don't know if Dennis let them in or not, but they moved back in on their own accord.
Nope, Dennis didn't let him in.
Yeah, and I didn't let them in, you know?
Well, I will tell you, and I'm looking at some of the neighbors, that we are not going to allow.
Well, the neighbors know that I've tried, you know? They know my situation with these people. It's just was 2 people, and the whole time I had it, and I couldn't get rid of them. You know, I mean, I've had people that didn't pay, and after a while, they just moved out. These guys won't go, you know? I was told they broke in again. And I don't know if it's the guy, Robert, that was renting from me or not. I would assume it was.
I don't know, but I can tell you the amount of garbage that we took.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
But it
I
was
don't know how
the
anyone could-
outside of your home, the outside.
Yeah, and I think people were driving by throwing it in my yard. I don't think that's all from them 2 guys. There was only 2 or 3 guys, 2 guys and a girl or whatever in each apartment. You know, two people. So 4 people, and I got the 60-quart barrel, the biggest barrel you can get from Casella. I've had it for 15 years, or something like that. And they put their rubbish out and recycled, and even if they didn't recycle, you can't fill that barrel up, and you can top it up and they'll take it. I've never had any problem with rubbish removal. It's always been there. I've always had it there for them. And I don't know what they're doing, you know.
You're the homeowner, you're still responsible, so I don't want to cut you short, but I also have to move on because we have to get through the rest of our board meeting. If you want to talk to Dennis separately, you're more than welcome, but you have to go out of this room because this is
Okay, that's not a
this is a
problem.
public meeting. And, you know, the board will talk to Dennis and we'll make a decision. But at this point, the house is condemned,
Yeah, I know that.
bottom line,
I know that.
based on New York State code law and fire codes.
Yeah, I understand that. And I appreciate that he had to take those steps to get rid of them people. I couldn't do it. I
Okay.
tried, I went through the law, and they didn't do their job, as far as I'm concerned, you know?
I'm seeing here in this, what we're dealing with, it says, whereas the owner, for health reason, has requested a 30-day extension.
I can't hear you.
Appear before
That was the
board.
last meeting.
That was like, oh, okay, all right, got it.
Yeah. And we gave it to him, and he
Yeah,
had,
Here, the important
okay.
thing is that, as it stands right now, you were ordered by the board that you have to begin repair or removal of the house within 30 days. That actually would start now, rather than the original letter. And then you have within 60 days to complete it. After that, the board will decide what happens to your home. So you need to express to the board what you're doing. Are you repairing this home?
I'm trying to get to that point. I'm trying to get it cleaned out and see what damage there is underneath all that stuff.
I will tell you that, and Dennis will reiterate this, it has to be gutted.
And I can't afford that.
Well, the walls, the floors, everything, it's that bad of a condition. That's why it's condemned. Correct, Dennis?
Yes.
I haven't seen it since I left.
Well,
I mean, it was bad when I left. I couldn't get them to do nothing. I couldn't get them out of there. And now I'm getting the short end of the stick.
well, I don't,
I mean, I tried to do everything I could legally do. I couldn't just go in there and pull them out.
the home is your responsibility.
I understand that, but
Unfortunately,
the
we had-
law was against me.
Well, I understand you feel that way, but
Well, I went 4 times in front of Judge Decker with the eviction, and he did nothing, and he didn't even show up half the time, or 3/4 of the time. Then he showed up with the dog. He had no shots and no whatever he needed, and he was having a problem with the dogs, and instead of making the dogs leave, they let him have the dog stay in there with nobody living there. And then he came back and it stayed there, and I had to leave. I couldn't afford to pay. I have nowhere else to live here, you know?
the dogs have been taken by the county and the
They
dog.
should have been taken months ago,
Okay, well,
you know?
the dogs,
And I asked them, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I don't like getting people in trouble or starting an argument about it. So I try to be a little bit of a pacifist about it, and I talk to who I can about it. And I don't want to argue. I mean, I got strong feelings about what's happened here. I'm the victim, not the people that ruined my house. I've told them to clean it and clean it and clean it, and I've called the police, and the police were there for noise and drugs and everything else, but they could never catch them. And then the judge threw them out, and they were right back in.
Well, first off, I'm very sorry for what happened, the circumstances, terrible, absolutely terrible. Well, my suggestion to you is to get with Dennis right now, and go out in the other room and talk and see what you can do.
I'm willing to do
You gotta talk to
about what I
Dennis.
can do. I'm not fighting the board or anybody, you know?
You gotta see what, if Dennis can let you in the house, or you can see what's going on, with an escort, I don't know, but that's your recourse right now.
I don't think Dennis has seen it since the kids cleaned it. I don't know.
I
And
don't
he's
know
taken
either.
out,
You need to talk to Dennis.
he's taken out 5 trailers, 5 by 17 foot and 4 5-foot tall. And he bought, just recently, he already went through a bunch, he bought those big black bags, he bought 4 or 5 boxes of
I
those.
saw the truck full.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a good guy. He's mentally challenged, and he does this stuff all the time. He tears trailers apart, and you wouldn't even believe it when he's done. It doesn't even look like it was there, you know?
but it's not, and I don't want to get into the weeds here, but it's not just about garbage. It's about safety, security, railings, I could go on and
Oh,
on
I
and
know the
on.
railing had a piece missing out of it.
Okay, so
And I had
again,
the
I don't want to get into the
code-
weeds.
Code look at it before, they, just secure it, they said, and I did the best I could, and they pulled it apart, and, I mean, they break everything I do. They did.
All right, so you need to get with Dennis and,
I mean, I'm looking for a little consideration, a little mercy here on me. That was my retirement, now it's going down the tube, you know? I've been there for 15, 20 years or something, I don't know when I bought it, I don't remember, I got memory problems. And, if you look at your records, I haven't had a lot of problems over there. Well, with the police I have, but the filth-wise and that, you know?
You can't leave a house in that shape on the outside or the inside in the village, and so I
Well,
understand.
I had a washing machine and a stove, that was mine. And my back porch, I figured was my porch, it was in the back and it was hidden. I have a jacuzzi back there and a piece of plywood on top of it. I could never get to do anything for myself, you know? I bought a
understand.
used jacuzzi for my back, and I've never even got water in it, because I've never, ever had the time that either I'm hurt, or they've got the place destroyed. I fix one thing, they do another. I clean the halls out, I get it 3/4 done, I come back a couple of days later, and they fill it back up. All that stuff in the halls is theirs. That's got nothing to do with me. I didn't put it in there, I tell them to clean it, and they don't listen.
Okay.
They did whatever
Thank
they
you.
wanted.
Thank you.
Huh?
Appreciate it.
I tried, and I called the
understand.
police.
We
And
understand.
I'm the one that called Dennis. I'm the one that called
Why
him.
don't you come out?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to know if we're gonna get some kind of confirmed statement as to what the plan is tonight.
The board will not be
Today was
making,
the
the board will
next-
not be making a decision tonight.
Okay. You know, will
So,
that be?
so to be clear, the board ordered him to repair or remove the property. He asked for an extension, he's here now, giving his reason for doing so. So technically, he has until 7/3 to commence.
Well, I was
He
thrown
has
out.
to commence by 7/3, which would be July 3rd. If he hasn't started by then he's in violation. If he has started by then, he has to complete within 60 days.
I've already started, and I was thrown out of there. I had no place to
Eric,
live.
It's fine, you can talk to Dennis, we're just answering the question.
Okay.
Right, so I was reading, so if he has not started by July 3rd,
The order states that he must commence by July 3rd, so at that point, he'd be in violation and
And
come
then-
back before the board.
and then there's 60 days from July 3rd?
He has 60 days from that point to complete by that time. That's what the order says. Hopefully we'll move a lot faster.
I mean, you heard, I believe that he intends and wants to sell it, but he does have things in his apartment, and I appreciate that the neighbors are here. I hear a lot about that property, and we're watching it, as you know, and we want to do the right thing. So,
There's a process.
what, Mark?
I said, there is a process, you gotta, you know, just the.
Unfortunately, there's
The
time.
timeline.
I
the
get that, I
timeframe.
get that, it's just that even with it boarded up, and the police were there again this morning when someone else was on the property, and it's just, I mean, they have other things to look at, and, I mean, we have our own lives, and I have to say that after it was boarded up initially, there was a piece on the block that was, you know, there were not constant police calls, there was not yelling, extreme calls.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I guess also as a neighbor, I live right next door to the house. My concern now, right, is, we would travel and go on vacation when we can. And prior to this, there was, people there, which was a headache of its own. But just a couple weeks ago, I had called because 2 people went through my side yard and had a elaborate plan to get through. It had peeled off one of the boards and then had it leaning, so it wasn't obvious from the street. And they were living there for a week without power in a boarded up house. And now my concern is, well, you're breaking into one house, not that much of a stretch to break into the house, literally next door. It's just as we are in this delicate state, I just worry now that people are going to get more desperate. And so I know the police are watching it, and I appreciate everything you said, Lori, about how firm you are with this. So we're just want to
We
make sure.
appreciate the action.
Yeah.
Well, and, my concern as well is that they find other vacant houses, which we are also working on.
Yeah.
But under the law, we have to follow the process, and so I know it feels sometimes like it's not quick enough, believe me. I'd love to have my phone not ringing about 900 North Porter. But we want to do the right thing. Hopefully he will do the right thing as well, and, we'll get this, it could be a beautiful home. It's a beautiful lot. So,
Yeah, so and I can say that the gentleman has been there almost daily. I mean, the outside looks better than it has in years.
Yeah.
It's the amount of stuff he's pulled out there, it's can't even fathom what it looks like inside, or something for that matter. So, if the plan is that he fixes it up, and then it can be sold, and someone can really renovate it, and it becomes what I think it can be, that's amazing. My just biggest fear that I don't want to go down a path where it just becomes squatted in again, and we're
Yep.
back to that whole process again.
nor do we.
Right, on the fixing up and selling, if his plan is to sell, does that still have to happen within the 60 days? What happens when he says my plan is to sell?
He has to show a plan of
As long as the process is
that
started.
intent.
Okay.
It can't be just, oh, I'm going to sell it. It has to be,
And you can't take an outrageous price and say, well, it's for sale, it's
Right.
$600,000.
Well, there definitely has been people looking at it, because people have told me, it's going to take a rehab, as you know, but I really think it could be a beautiful home. And
Agreed.
we don't want it to come down, and that would be the last thing we want to see. But, and you can tell, I mean, he's not in good health. We are in contact with his daughter, and we want to do what's right for Garrett too, but it's his responsibility, it's his property.
Yep.
So I appreciate you, and certainly, as I've told both of you, call the police anytime you see anybody around there. And I know it's a pain, but they're monitoring it, but they can't be there every minute.
Yeah, and I live,
Village, we get it.
I live a couple blocks away, and I drive by there all the time, and they must be living in the dark. I don't know how they
They're
get
sneaky.
around at
They're
night.
I can show you videos of them sneaking down my driveway.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I caught them is that my floodlight has an indoor switch, so I accidentally turned it off. So one night, my floodlight on that side of the house was off, and that was the night they chose to sneak through that side yard. And my camera has infrared, and I said, hey, there's two people going into that side yard.
Yep, they're pretty creative. All right,
So I know Alex, but I don't know.
I'm Colleen, I live across the street.
Colleen?
The other house on the corner of my corner.
C-A,
Yeah.
C-A-S.
C-H-A-B, C-H-A-B, A-B-Z-E.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
309th Street, just across from here.
So I
Okay.
do want to thank you for
Yes.
everything that you've done in the process.
You're very
This
welcome.
is done, and,
We're still on it.
Village PD, I don't want to put out of the woods yet, but it has been life-changing, truly, to not have that ever.
Yeah, you should be able to be in your home and be at peace.
Yeah.
And we want that for everybody in the village.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move on to public be heard. Peter's here again. Geez, Peter.
Yeah,
So I heard you met with somebody. I wasn't sure who. I got a phone call. Was it Chris or was
it
it?
was Chris.
Okay.
And I want to remind the board that I've only spoken to Chris twice.
Mm-hmm.
Once last year,
Yep.
in August or September, and then this past Wednesday, when he came up with Don Curry and Ken Thurston. And he was loaded for bear already, because he says, I'm not talking about the speed limit, I don't have any jurisdiction, and he was just, and he was not amenable to my concerns. And he walked away from me, apparently got on the phone and called you, but he didn't even tell me what he said to you.
I didn't talk to him. I was away. He left me a message, but I haven't connected with him yet.
He said that he's spoken to me and he was sick and tired of speaking to me about the speed limit. And that's, the meeting didn't go according to the way I had hoped it would go. And right now, I really don't know what to do.
So what was the intent of them coming up then if, do you know?
Well,
Like,
my number one concern is people flying up and
yeah,
down.
so that's,
Then the
that,
speed limits.
yep, that's the
And
police,
the
so.
lines, and then he says, well, you mentioned the approach to your driveway. And so I asked him to fix the approach to my driveway, but that went in one ear and out the other. Another one was the survey stakes that the county dug up when they put the culvert in for Buck Shafee.
Yep.
And Bob told me they pulled up 2 survey pins. Ken and Don said, well, we found 1 pin. And that was the end of that conversation. And I said, well, what about the other pin? And by that time, Chris was in his car and driving away. He was like, he did not want to be, it was below him to even discuss anything with me.
So did they admit that that's their responsibility to take care of that stuff, or
No.
if I remember
No,
last time, we didn't, nobody
it
knows
ended-
who's,
We both parted ways with
Nothing
steam
happened.
coming out of my ears and probably steam coming out of his ears, because it was not
So we
Not a
got,
Wasn't
productive
productive.
meeting.
so we got
Yes.
nowhere.
So there's,
We got nowhere. And he said, I asked about the speed limit sign,
Yeah.
the flashing signs. He said, we got rid of those. And I said, I know you got rid of them, but you can buy new speed limit signs.
yeah, we're working on a solution for that, but,
Anyway,
So-
that's enough.
so
I'm
the,
getting too upset.
yeah, I mean, so it gets a little weird here because the driveway thing, that really should be their responsibility, not ours.
Right.
What I'm having our guys look at is where, because I checked those signs, Village of Watkins Glen, where they are, because I think you're right, they're not in the right spot.
They haven't been.
It's kind of weird why they're up that far. It makes no sense at all. It's above the water plant, Megan knows. So, you know, we can help with that, we can help
Her
with,
crew up there
we can help with the policing, but,
yesterday, looking at meter pits and stuff on water lines going up there. But that's not my concern.
so, from the village perspective, we'll look at the signs. What else can we do besides the speed? Because that is our responsibility unless it's in the county side. But I mean, we're working on that. We're looking at getting I think we got a solution to get a sign up there, one of those blinking ones. I gotta follow up with
I've
Scott?
got one of those signs in my car on Amazon. It's like $2,000. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
I-
that cheap. It's not that expensive.
Yeah, we have,
$2,000 is not that expensive? All right, Peter, that a boy.
Well, I got my tax bill the other day. You could use my taxes to pay for the sign.
well, I'm sorry that didn't go well.
It didn't go well.
That's
And
frustrating. He did call me, but I was out of town, so,
I don't know what my next steps are, but I definitely need to put things in writing, and I'm gonna write to the county legislators and copy everybody. And just vent my frustration about County Road 28 that exists within the village of Watkins Glen. I maintain it's the county's responsibility. And that's, until they show me that they
Yep.
don't, they have
What,
no.
what did Kenny had no input?
Kenny was, no, he didn't have any, really.
so let's
They were
see.
talking about when the road washed out. That's all, things way back when. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to.
Who's your legislative representative? Is it Mark Rondinero?
Yeah.
Because you're in, so,
Well, half in, half out.
right. Or Phil Barnes. Well, because you're in Reading, not Dix.
I have not much faith in either one.
Okay, because I was going to say that would be another outlet to try to talk to them before you. All right, well, I'm sorry.
I appreciate your effort. At least, apparently your phone call to him was what prompted him to call me to set up this meeting.
I don't know that it helps.
Maybe that was what made him, what's the word I'm trying to, well, it doesn't matter.
A little bit irate.
Why, he didn't want to be taking orders from a person within the village.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the county.
People
Well,
he deals with.
he owes me a phone call on another issue, so I'll see if I can, I don't know, I might make it worse at this point.
And weren't we also gonna see if we could move the speed limit sign from that one spot? up
Yeah,
there?
I mean, that I want our guys to do, to see right, because I think
What do you mean?
it's
No, the one
right by his driveway.
Oh, the one, yes.
So, I think the welcome to Village Watkins Glen is in the wrong spot.
Right.
Yeah, that was brought up a
We
long
still
time
Up
need
the
ago.
hill.
speed limit. We still need that speed limit from the one spot to the other, didn't we talk about that, about the one on the corner?
I'm having them check them both.
Village limit used to be right where that village sign is.
Right.
Until my upper acreage was annexed within the village in 2006.
But let me ask this question, does where the speed limit thing would go, the flashing speed limit, Is that relevant to the signs? Does that have something to do with the signs? Like,
It's
we
gotta be
wouldn't be-
relevant to a certain footage
It's gotta-
within the
Village limits?
village limit.
We have to look at
There's a math equation yet that the police have to take into account.
it's in our street laws,
Yeah.
that's what we go by. And it's that distinct, that it's so many feet from, like, if you looked at a stop sign on Third Street, it says it's, 80 feet from northeast corner, blah, 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 that's how distinct the,
Not saying you can't
So-
move it, it's
so
just gotta be
what's-
moved in the right spot.
right, and then we
So
gotta
what-
update the
So
law.
what's holding us back is where those signs are right now? Is that what's holding them back? Or-
Well, that's one of his issues, is that it's not in the right spot, we think, but we gotta look at it.
Now, the county did put, 30-mile speed zone ahead, way up outside. the
Yep, I
zone,
saw it.
So that's to their,
Yeah, I saw it.
they did attempt to slow people down, but once you drive by it once, it just.
No, people fly.
They fly.
Even in this curve right up here that's supposed to be, it's amazing how fast these trucks come down that hill still.
Oh, yeah.
Should see how fast they go
McGee
down
Street's-
Berlin from
McGee
Dunkin'
Street's like a
Donuts.
drag
It's driving me nuts.
One more thing.
Uh-huh,
They do, that entire area is zoned R1,
right,
so you're doing 60 miles an hour in an R1
right,
district.
yep. I gotcha.
Okay.
Always good to, always good to see you, I'm glad you got the time right. All right, we're gonna move,
I learned quick.
Thanks, Wadu.
all right, so we're gonna move on to, so we have two minutes to approve, one on May 20th, and then we got a special meeting on the 30th.
If we're gonna have to table, because Bob.
We're gonna have to table, because, yeah, Bob just texted
He
me.
just said that he's just got, I wanna know that he's fine. He just,
Yeah, okay.
I just told him he's fine, there's nothing coming now.
So we're gonna do the May 20th?
So just do the 20th, and we'll.
So I
we'll
make a
table.
motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on May 20th, 2025.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, carried, thank you. All right, so we're gonna table that special meeting. All right, parks, wow, we had a busy weekend.
It's busy, it was good though.
It was fun.
Yeah, everything looked good.
Amazing
Yeah, it was good though.
amount of people, and it was freezing down there.
It wasn't too bad.
Well, you were dressed for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the.
Windy.
We had the Midget Mania. We have two weddings?
2 weddings,
We had Little League softball,
Little League.
Celebration of Life.
yeah, pavilion.
And it all went very
Yeah,
smooth.
very good. Yeah, it was nice we had a lot of emergency officials that, took the time to come down there, so it's good.
Yes, we need to thank them.
I think we parked 6 Cadillacs and 2 Mercedes-Benz. They brought people of all kinds,
Yeah.
all makes and models.
Yeah, it was quite an event.
And they got the fence down at the playground today.
Yeah, did you see any kids going in?
Yeah, so I went down this afternoon, there were some kids down there playing.
Good.
It's good.
Yeah, so the board, we roped off the grassy
Grass.
area, it's supposed to rain on Thursday, so,
No.
no? Did it change?
No, but it's supposed to, it's golf night, it's not gonna,
Oh. Jeez.
We will be having the lifeguards start. The hours are gonna be kind of varying every weekend, because the lifeguards are all in the middle of their certification, so we're gonna have to work around that schedule.
Last I looked, the water was about 50.
That's cool. You'd be surprised the amount of people asking me if we're gonna open the swim beach.
I saw a couple of comments about that.
But the splash pad, because there's 20 kids over there today at that.
Okay.
is that running already?
Yeah, it's going. We had to put a part in there. Today, when we were walking around the boat launch, did you guys decide to move some of those poles? Or are they gonna leave them? I mean, I don't really know what the,
I don't know what the best solution is with that, because it gets a cluster down there on the busy holiday weekends.
So do we
We don't have any lines down there to try to like help people park.
have anybody stationed there to,
Well, that's gonna be my plan this year. I learned from that last year that not having somebody down there isn't good, but you get too many people with single cars in there, and it just kinda keeps.
they park all over the place, it's a
Yeah, I try
problem.
to keep it a little more orderly, but,
so they come to the office?
They pull in there and
well, it's
drop
just a
their
big
boat.
open, it's just a big open lot, so just keep the lot, inner lot more orderly.
It's hard because you don't know how long someone's
Gonna be there.
So
vehicle,
they make a
trailer.
material that is not paint, that you can put down, you wanna put in parking spots, is that your telephone poles
Not
that
really
down there?
parking spots, maybe like a line or something that's a little more permanent, you know, just to kind of guide them on which park.
So they make a road material that you can use on parking lots like
That
that.
won't wash off. That's a
That
good-
it won't wash off, it's actually a material in a roll.
Mm.
And then you, like, you have Scotty's crew tacks into the ground with
Right, so
sort of
maybe
a
something
spike
that's-
that's not permeable to somebody tripping, so.
Yeah. Well, then something like that might be an idea.
It's just something for you guys to look at.
You gotta look at, because you're gonna have to have them, they gotta be drive-through, they gotta be, some of them are gonna have to be longer than others. I mean, look at that trailer that Stephen had just
It's
today.
huge.
It was probably 30 feet long.
So is that parking just for boats and trailers?
Yeah.
No
No
cars?
single cars.
Yeah.
You know, because they even had some kayakers and, they're on the racks there, and you want to pick up parking passes, and I said, no. I said, well, can I see if you're in there on the weekends when it's not busy? And I said, but we're gonna be, changing all that, so.
We try to get them to park along the guardrail there on the other side if they're
It's
doing
not
it.
hard to walk, so.
For just a kayak?
Yeah, well, for anybody, that's all like you brought in your boat, when you had an extra party with you that's in a car, you've got to go park in the community center.
Okay, so my next question, so they stop at the office and pay to park there?
Yeah,
And so we don't have anybody down there next to that little building to make sure that people stopped at the office and paid?
we have, it's not every day of the week, no. On the busy weekends, yes.
We'll be also using our new machine down there.
Well, hopefully we get things going.
But the plan is this year is to try to station someone down there most weekends.
Yeah, it gets to be a real cluster because they just park all over in all different directions and.
Yeah, well, that's my point.
So you get the speed.
So your arterial will be your parking spots for the shorter vehicle structures. Then the center, you want all your long length
Well,
vehicles.
no,
or trailers, wouldn't you?
anything on the, perimeter is all, they've already paid, they're permanent.
They're
spots.
numbered spots,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're full.
Yeah, I'll look into those lines, so if you'll do that.
Yeah, let me know if you need any help.
Yeah.
Glad to help you.
Anything else, Stace?
Nope, I think that's
Looks like we got a lot of rentals coming up, which is great.
it. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a wedding in there this weekend.
Did we ever get any more applications for that custodian?
I thought that was.
Oh, yeah, we got someone on
It's
fire
on-
today.
it's on-
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
that's,
Yep.
Yes, he's gonna start hopefully tomorrow.
So he has not started yet,
Oh.
though.
No, I was waiting for the.
So we can move that forward.
that's awesome, okay, great.
How's the Italian Fest meetings going? Is
Good.
it looking good where
Yeah, I
there's enough
think we're
room for
pretty
what they want to
good.
do?
Well, we haven't gone to that, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay.
We've requested that we get together and go down there and walk.
I thought you already did, or they went on their own.
They went on their own
Oh,
and did the
that's
walk
right,
through.
okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no, those have been pretty good.
All right, thank you, Stace. Dennis, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, we got 4 new homes that are being, in the process of being built this time, and one's near completion. We got a new coffee shop coming into the old Little Joe's Garage.
Yep,
Oh, that's what's going in there, huh?
yep.
And it's called Cafe Sips, I believe it is.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Mhm.
that.
So that, they just, got their certificate of occupancy from me
today. They will be going for their health, Board of Health stuff within the next few days. They want to try to get open really soon. We already talked about the next steps for Water Street. We got to look at the next steps for Lakeview Ave as well.
Yep.
As far as what we're doing up there. There's been no response from them at all. I sent out 3 tall grass letters this past month to cut grass.
I got another one today. Yeah.
Most of them that complied, except for Lakeview Ave area, they kind of like mowed down the hay, but they still,
Oh,
some hedgerow stuff. that's
yep,
still-
I'm getting complaints almost daily on that.
Yeah, some of that in the buildings. Lot on 12th Street has been filled in with, to me, what looks like the packings for a parking lot.
Yep.
I spoke with the owner back on 520, and I told him that he needs to have he needs to go before the planning board before he can do anything there.
Yep,
What he's doing is against the zoning law,
yeah.
from what I understand, what I've read about it. So the first bed of stone that he put down was 3-inch and 4-inch stone, which is normally the base of a driveway parking lot or whatever. I was sent a video on the phone of him putting smaller stone down this weekend and smoothing that out. His excuse to me was he doesn't want to drive his cars on grass because it's all muddy, it's been so wet, so that's why he's doing that. But basically what he's done is created a parking lot there.
So we need to get him a violation letter, and maybe he needs to go to court.
Yeah.
What's this address? What is it?
Just a body shop.
So he's also submitted an incomplete special use permit application for the demolition of 208 12th Street.
Yep,
Which I sent him an email saying that that's incomplete. You need to come back with the site plan of what you're going to do there, what your vision is, and that to be able to be submitted. He also has to pay the fee for I guess that'd be a zoning board.
yeah, I mean, that's a violation of the zoning law. I mean, I would look at that parking lot, just to step back a minute, and can you do a cease and desist, and so that he should not be parking anything on there? That is totally against our law.
So there's been 8 permits issued last month. 4 were for roofing, 3 were for electrical, and one of them had some plumbing in it. That was for the cafe. And one was a deck report repair. I didn't make the zoning meeting last month. I don't remember if we had one or not. I didn't make it.
Believe they did. They only had one item, though.
The planning board, they talked about the water side project and approval. I guess that all they had to do was do some rewording on some stuff.
Yeah, that was the environmental.
Right, and I believe that that's been approved now, correct?
What's the timing on McGuire?
McGuire's has been, the discussion was to submit as a landscaping thing that's got to be sent to the county.
Oh, right.
To the county report on that. However, I would recommend that we authorize the demolition while they're trying to, they're doing the approval, because there are some serious issues with some of the boards that are supporting that building. My concern is I don't want that thing to topple over.
Right.
You never tell when the building's going to go.
Right.
There's a broken beam down there, some of the foundation is kind of falling in.
Yep.
And some other broken points. And so my recommendation is to issue the permit for them to take it down. There is some asbestos in there, some floor tiles, so they're going to have to make that before they can actually bring it all the way down.
Okay.
of properties that are ongoing for the community. There's two stop work orders in place, both are making progress towards both of them being lifted. Just need a little bit more information on a couple of items, and we can go from there. So permitting the code violations on information, phone calls and stuff. Cloud permit software is up and able to be used, and I'll start using it to enter permits. I'm still working on the code enforcement side of it, and I'd like some help figuring out what we want to put in for issuing citations and things like that, either through the zoning law. I basically know all the things in the code that we can submit citations and violations for. There's some issues or some things from the zoning law that we should be putting in there as well, so I want to make sure we get all of those things and put them in to the system. From there, I'll be able to pick and choose which ones we need to put into a letter. The letter will be more of a standardized letter, so we kind of cut and paste almost. I want to make sure that the wording for that stuff is going to be the right wording that for the court to be acceptable. We had a conversation with Fred about the court will accept certain documents for when I got to issue parents' tickets and accusatory instruments and administrative warrants. We need to get through those so I can have the right documentation so I can submit things.
We have those forms, don't we? I saw it.
I thought the software kicked those forms out when I read that.
Not for the
It
court.
interacts with legal, code, zoning, planning.
There's certain ones I would.
The judge requires certain forms.
This requires certain language on it, on the forms.
But you can interlink that once, whatever form he approves, you can interlink it into your software.
Paste type of thing too, so, and from there, it's making sure that I got the right law quoted, and that the right remedies and things like that. Just need to be able to submit to the court.
The only thing I keep hearing is the bank sign,
The what side?
the bank.
Dennis and I don't have anything to do with the bank sign. We already approved it.
Oh, it's already
It's up to
been,
the bank.
Yeah, they,
they don't have a certain timeline they have to,
But they said, told me by the end of July.
yeah, so they had to refabricate part of that sign.
The inside of the clock had to
Inside,
be,
yeah, the inside of that thing was pretty beat up.
yeah.
Some pictures.
And then they'll fix it's the number one question I get.
yeah, me too.
Well, besides the playground, when the playground was gonna be.
Yeah, I'm just getting people asking if they can at least go out and paint it until they fix it.
Yeah,
I sent them to Bruce because I can't believe how many people ask. I mean, you know, and it's just common. You just go down Franklin, you look up to see what's the temperature?
It's the only digital sign we've got.
They're not complaining about the digital sign, they're complaining that they want paint on it. And
Well-
I don't,
They're fixing the
they're
whole
fixing
thing.
it, they're
Yeah.
replacing the
I
whole
don't
thing.
even, have they taken it down yet?
No.
no,
That's what people are complaining about.
Yeah, it was like $10,000 over budget, but. All right, thanks, Dennis. Meg?
Working with the buyer.
We've had a few discussions on water, well, mostly today, wasn't it? All right, no electric, no dog. So,
Meg, how did anything back, a few meetings back, we had an issue with the variable speed drive for the valve, that they were gonna replace?
No, there's no better.
What's the update on that? Are they gonna replace them?
It's supposed to, we're waiting on that one to come in, but not gonna be for a while.
Is that the reserve valve he's talking about?
yeah, that's been
Yeah,
crazy.
kinda going, yeah.
absolutely crazy. So the compressors are still kicking in.
We kind of rigged his own little device up and made it so we're not killing the compressor.
Okay,
So
little troubleshooting. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah,
thing I'm curious, I got an email, Larson, to see if they're gonna come fix the yard. There's concrete everywhere, the fence is this high up. It looks terrible.
Have you emailed them? Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
No, I need to, yeah, because we tried mowing yesterday, and it's just, when they did the fence, they threw piles of concrete.
Oh.
Well,
They
then
should
there
clean
was
it up.
There's a, on the south side there, Peter and I were up there looking at it one time, remember it was all, like
The
the,
concrete coming out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
eroding away
it's
from the,
eroding
It's
already.
terrible, it's terrible mowing in there.
oh my
It's so
God.
steep,
Let's document it.
it's really steep.
Well, push mowing to be,
I wouldn't want to have to push them all out.
So you don't have a timeline on these VFDs?
no, I think they said sometime in maybe this month, they're supposed to
I
get
thought,
shipped.
yeah, I
She
thought
said
I saw a
mid-June.
June date somewhere.
But then we gotta wait for McCrossin or whoever to put them in and see how that works. It'll be-
My favorite.
Yeah, they put it in the first time.
And do we have a plan to follow up with the owner that we met with earlier today with Barb?
I've been him and Mona on how to go about that.
Well, if you need one of us, let me know.
It's gonna be a nightmare.
I gotta,
I would just set an appointment, tell her to come over and sit down with Barb.
Yeah, I just need all that information from Barb to have, this is what you've been billed for X month, maybe a couple years again.
yeah.
But I needed to say, here's the, whichever building it is, and the meter that's attached to it. So we can verify with that.
Just let me know if you need Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing you under the bus.
I took it today. All right. Thanks, Meg. I need a motion to accept all department reports.
I make a motion to accept all department reports.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, it's carried, thank you. All right, we only have a couple voting items, pay up and some hires.
I'll make it a motion to approve pay at number 4 from Evergreen Excavating and Demolition LLC in the amount of $91,288.08 for final work performed on the accessible playground.
Second.
Thank you. All
Sorry.
right. Discussion?
So that is the last of the DRI stuff.
That's it,
That's 10 years.
that's it.
That's nice. Now we start all over again.
Well, we can apply for another one.
Yeah, might as well.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, no opposed, carried. All right, now we have 1, 2, 3 hires.
I make a motion to hire Ralph Diliberto for the summer youth supervisor on June 3rd, 2025 at $23 an hour. Juliana Varner for lifeguard starting on June 3rd, 2025 at $21 an hour. And Joseph
Biddle?
Biddle for seasonal cleaner on June 3rd, 2025 at $16 an hour.
Second.
Discussion.
When did the lifeguards start?
Well, some of them have started just with the beach cleanup and getting it ready. It's debatable just because of the water temp, and then also their certifications, a lot of them are kind of running out different times this month, so gotta get some of theirs done, because they're all in.
Stace, do you have, I think Department of Health, is there a certain temperature that
I don't know. I just met with them last week, we didn't talk about temperature or beach plan,
okay.
but I can ask that, it's another good
But
question.
you might want to check on it.
Yeah.
Oh, just to cover your.
You talking about water or
Yeah,
temperature
water
in
temp,
general?
water temp.
Well, I thought would be good to get something down there to hang on the lakeside pavilion too. You know, like when you drive to the state park, it says like water temperature for the pool is X, but then
Yeah.
you have like something hanging there that water temps pretty cold.
It'll always stay warmer because it's so shallow
But
down
just
there.
so like the public's aware. you
I'm
know.
all about just whatever activities for youth
Yeah.
and there's tourism and the people in the village, but
It's gonna be very
you might want
minimal
to check that.
in June, just mostly because they're certifications and they're training for their, the summer swim program. They
Yeah,
got that
I've
training
seen
this
all of it.
weekend too, so,
Yeah, there's quite a few in that class right now,
yeah,
trying to get recertified.
yeah.
I'm just glad we can pay them what we do. All right, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
No opposed, carried. All right, general audit, June 2nd, already. Ooh.
I make a motion to approve the general audit dated June 2nd, 2025 for the total amount of $145,307.72.
Second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
All right. No opposed, carried, thank you. Board, any concerns, new business?
No, everybody I want to talk to is not here.
Started talking to me.
I do have an executive, I need Dennis to stay, so I need the motion to move to executive for,
I make a motion that we move to executive.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Bye, Megan. Bye, Stacy.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Sounded
It's gonna be a long one, should I go to bed? No. Oh, no.
Hold on.
Where's my pillows? Oh, yeah, this is, I live in the village, not that, I have a good day.